I was the MILF. I got happy. I got fat. Hi everyone, welcome to Mandy's Mess. I am Mandy, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something that is very, very personal. I'm going to be talking to you about my weight loss journey. I have another video that I kind of started it and then I stopped. And I'm finally getting back to it, but only after gaining a lot of weight. And it's been a rough awakening, I guess you could say. So, but before we get into it, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button along with liking this video if you like this kind of video or just like what I have to say along the way. I would really appreciate it. I would love comments of encouragement, but I just hope that you are able to enjoy and relate to me as I talk about the journey that has gotten me to this point right here, right now. Let me give a little background on myself. I have been active, I guess you could say, in some sort of sport or something else for pretty much my entire life. I started with swim club when I was like 6 years old. From there it didn't work out, went to gymnastics. My parents just let me try everything. Was in gymnastics, but I got too tall for that, and they figured that out by the time I was like 8 or 10. And so the particular gym that we were working with was not, they were looking for people that could compete in the Olympics because they had trained Olympic athletes before. When my parents do something, they go all the way. So that was the type of gym that I trained at. Did dance for a little bit, and then ended up playing softball with some friends, along with doing gymnastics. And then I switched over completely to softball when I was like 9 or 10. And it was a good experience. I played softball literally from about age 8, 9-ish all the way through college. I got a partial scholarship, which is actually kind of rare because I was an outfielder at a private institution. I went to Point Loma Nazarene University. Go Sea Lions. I love it. I'm still in contact with some of the girls that I played with. It was great. There is absolutely nothing like being paid to work out and being active, because that's really what a scholarship is they're paying you to do that. I could eat whatever I wanted. I could do whatever I wanted when it came to eating and then drinking, and then it was easy. We had our specific weight training days, and we had all of that, and it was easy in college. And then I graduated. I got married right away. My marriage wasn't the best. We ended up divorcing, I want to say 6 years in. I had 2 kids in the process, and I was still very thin. I think the most I weighed when I was pregnant with Mitchell, I was a little bit heavier with Mitchell. I got up to 160. So before I had been 130, I gained 30 pounds, and then I lost it right away. And I was, I think, 26, 27 at that point. And when you're in your 20s, it is easier to lose weight than in your 30s. Oh my gosh. My mom would always tell me, she's like, it's harder when you turn 30. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh. Girl and guy, if you're watching, it is harder after you turn 30, and actually when you start to get to your mid-30s to lose. But I'm going to get into that later. But I was working at Disneyland as a tour guide. I was going to school, substitute teaching. I got into a little bit of modeling, and I was actually a fitness model for a little while. I would go to video shoots where they needed runners, and like I would run for the camera. I would do all these things. I looked pretty good. I was muscular for my size. I'm almost 5'7", and I weighed about 130, 135 at my best. I was an extra on Sons of Anarchy in one of the whorehouses. Not my proudest moment, but I mean, I was looking good enough to at least play a hooker on a TV show. Like I said, not my proudest moment. But anyways, I was good. I was the MILF, which is not a great term to use either. But you know, I was feeling good. I ended up going through divorce right around the time that I was done with Sons of Anarchy when it finished, and then after that, I started teaching full time. And I quit my job at Disneyland. I wasn't a tour guide anymore, which, as a tour guide, I was walking miles and miles a day around the park. And that was my job, or at least a good chunk of my job when I was on tours. So I started teaching, and I was still walking around campus, walking around my classroom, and then I decided to get my master's. And from there, when I was getting my master's, I had to do some field work, and I just didn't feel like I could do it working in the classroom. So I took a job as an independent study teacher, and I ended up interning at my old high school and at another local high school in the area, just trying to get my hours in. And it was good. I finished my master's. I finally got it. That cost me a lot of money, but there was no scholarship to help out with that. But I started to slow down. I didn't have to go to practice. I didn't have a specific weight room time that all of my classes were arranged around. Now I was a single mom of 2 kids. Thank God I was living with my family at the time. I was a single mom with 2 kids. Thank God I had my family around to help out. I was actually living with my parents. But it was hard to fit in time. You know, there's the commute to work. There's helping my daughter who was starting school with her homework. There was doing my work. There was college work, my master's degree work. And I met my current husband, my forever husband, during all this. And I got happy. This is a horrible thing to say, but I got happy, and working out wasn't necessarily a priority anymore. Spending time with him was a priority. And when we were together, it was very common for us to have a beer. I discovered I loved red wine with him, and I'd have a glass of red wine. Sometimes it would turn into 2. And I gained a little bit of weight. We decided to get married. And I gained a bit of weight before the wedding, and I went on keto and intermittent fasting to try and help take the weight off. And keto and intermittent fasting, when you use them together, they work like a charm. I'm not kidding, they're great. But for me, it's not sustainable. So, because I would fast, how long would I fast? There are times where I would fast up to 48 hours. I wasn't hungry. And you lose a lot of weight like that. You basically are just in a constant state of calorie burning. But for me, it wasn't sustainable. Keto is really strict. And remember, I like to have a glass of wine. So it doesn't work for me. If keto works for you and that's your lifestyle, I applaud you because you have a little bit more discipline than I do, but it didn't work for me, and that's okay. It was good, but I was starting to get more and more sedentary. When I meet with my students as an independent study teacher, I have to drive to their house. Now, I live in Chino, and some of them live up in 29 Palms, and that is a 2.5 hour drive. So it's 2.5 hours up there and 2.5 hours back. So it's literally 5 hours of just sitting in my car and not being active. I got up to 140, and slowly I crept up to 150, and then I stopped weighing myself because I'm the type where if the scale is on the floor in the bathroom every single day, I will weigh myself 5 times a day. First, my husband took my scale away from me, like literally hid it, like took it out of the house because he didn't want me to weigh myself anymore because I would just be so upset at it every single day. My body just wasn't feeling good. Like, I just didn't feel good. And I was a little stressed out. I was trying to finish up all my papers and stuff for my master's, and I was trying to make sure Addison and Mitchell had what they needed. I was so stressed, and I was having 1 or 2 glasses of wine a night, or like a couple of White Claws, and I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And it was a big deal. It was a bigger deal than I thought. I started putting on weight, and I went to the doctor, and I stepped on the scale, and granted, I was fully clothed with shoes on, and I was like 165. And I was like, I about lost my mind. I'm like, there is something wrong with me. What happened? And life happened. I went to my regular doctor to see, okay, can I get blood tests? What can I do to fix this? And the PA that I saw had the absolute worst bedside manner of anyone that I've ever met. And I just started crying. He told me, he's like, well, your levels are all normal, and here's a pamphlet for a class that you can take on how to lose weight. I just started bawling. I was like, so basically you're just telling me that there is no medical reason that I am the way that I am? I'm just plain old fat. And I guess it was kind of true looking back. But then I started to lose weight, and I got down to 150, and then I got comfortable again. I got really comfortable again, especially with this whole COVID thing. I thought I was doing so good. I was working out a little bit, trying to eat healthy, but Josh and I would have a couple drinks a night as we sit on the couch for our nightcap. Put on some more weight, and I got up to 173. I weighed myself last week. It was difficult to see that number. It's difficult to say that number. I got up to 173, which is more than I was when I was pregnant with my son. So last week, I made a decision. And I've made this decision before, and then I quit on myself. But I made this decision for myself to join a Beachbody challenge and to commit to myself. And it's very interesting because I also joined a book club a couple months ago. I'm on my 3rd book with my girls. Hi, girls. And we're reading Rachel Hollis' Girl Wash Your Face. And I literally read the intro and chapter 1 last night, and then part of chapter 2. And I'm like, this girl is talking to me. But she talks about quitting on yourself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how many times have I started and stopped? something that I like or I enjoy. The last night when I was writing down my notes about what I wanted to say in this video, I wrote more really to just for like an attention getter. I got fat. And my daughter walks into my room as I'm writing this at my vanity, and she said, "Mom, why are you writing that about yourself?" And I was like, oh my gosh, what is she thinking? Like, and I had to think to myself, why did I write that? Why am I saying that about myself? That's not a nice thing to say about myself. Do I want her to say that about herself? So why am I talking to myself like that? So I started thinking, how do I support myself? How do I want to talk to myself on this journey? How do I want to support others on their journey? And I thought of some things. Okay, what are the most important things, and what do those things look like? I want you to be happy. I want to respect myself and create a lifestyle that is adaptable and livable for the rest of my life. I want to have the energy to work out every single day. Maybe not every day, but like we're talking like 5-6 days a week. And I did 7 days this week, and it was awesome. I feel great. I want to look into having more healthy food around the house and not have unhealthy food in the house. I really hope that what I have to say helps you in some sort of way, and to know that you are not alone. We all have our ups and downs, and it is all what you do with it that makes a difference. So I just want to end this video by saying I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it to the end of this video, put a double thumbs up in the comments so that way I know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day.